When 25 players piled into a brawl 4 minutes from the end of Fiji's demolition of Wales on Sunday night, the PA announcer suddenly decided to give Tom Jones' song Delilah a spin. The crowd laughed and everyone enjoyed the perversity of the paradox. It had been an hour since Wales had scored their only try of the game, and whoever was controlling the Tanu had clearly become tired of waiting for another chance to give the popular Welsh anthem another go. In the meantime, he had played the Fijian song 14 times as they ran riot. Mismatches have blighted the group stage with very few close games. Of the 5 matches I saw in Queensland, 4 were landslides. There were various reasons for them all, but the overall story is that Australia and New Zealand are still producing the best players, and the more of them you have, the better your chances of competing. Sad but true. Aside from Australia, New Zealand, England, PNG and France, no one else is producing professional rugby league players in any considerable number. Wales, with around 10 homegrown members in their squad, may be next on that list. The USA would be far from bottom. USA coach Brian McDermott made an interesting point following their dogged but cruel 460 lesson from Italy. It's not hard for the American boys. They love it. Tedesco makes a break down the right and Dave Ulch was chasing and half missed him, but he got off the deck and was involved in forcing the error. What an experience. The tough yards are for these men, indicating Captain Mark Offerdale, who've grown up in Australia and are proper rugby league players. They have expectations. Junior Viveri and Beretta Ferramo have ambitions to do something. They are the ones to feel for. Ulch, who plays for Tampa Mayhem and USARL, was clearly having the time of his life. It was a lot of fun, he told me, grinning broadly. You play in the moment. It's easy to forget who's on the other side and just focus on doing your job. Afterwards you realize, that's why they were so good. That was the highest level game I've ever played, my first taste of big-time league, and I want to taste some more. It's kind of addictive. I have a notebook and write down everything we have done after every training session, and I'm going to take that back to Tampa and help improve the team. By far the USA's standout performer, however, was stocky fullback Corey McKellim, who had the game of his life, dogged in defense, exhilarating in attack. He appeared to be playing his own game at several points. He was always a threat, said McDermott. He's just one of those fellows who you put the ball in his hand and drop him on a field and, whatever the scenario, he reads it right. He doesn't need coaching. He's a goer. I really rate him. McKellim, however, is a 23-year-old Australian struggling to get game in the New South Wales Cup, having been at several NRL clubs. If a player at that level can produce performances like that, what hope the domestic competitions of the States, Ireland, Lebanon and so on. The World Cup is giving dozens of low-profile players a taste of the big-time adventures that will bring wry grins to their faces as they rock in their chair in 40 years' time and call out to their bemused grandchildren, "Did I ever tell you about the time I tried to tackle James Tedesco? Surely it would be churlish to be down on that." Country call Scotland. Scotland were beaten 746 by New Zealand. Photograph Kaishwara Getty Images. What better way to react to a 70-point humbling by New Zealand than to go out and get absolutely banjaxed and be refused onto your flight back to Australia? That's what Scotland's talismanic captain Danny Bruff, who broke their all-time appearance record last week, along with Sam Brooks and Johnny Walker, decided to do. They were promptly sacked and sent home by Scotland, who must be wondering what else can go wrong. If it wasn't for an horrendous pre-tournament injury list, Brooks and Walker would not have been in the squad. They have treated the honour with immature contempt. Sympathy must be with 14-year veteran coach Steve McCormack, for assistant Dave Rotherham and the rest of the management team. They do not deserve this. Knowing the Scotland setup as I do as their former media man, I expect them to show bunker spirit by the bucketload, have a soothing week in Cairns, and the 17 young Bravehearts who face Samoa to give it their absolute all. Domestic quota. Other than France, the European nations have come in for some stick for fielding teams packed with English and Australian players. Somehow the Pacific nations have been totally absolved of this supposed crime. The Christchurch quarter-final is looking like a meeting of serious contenders: ferocious Tonga against thrilling Fiji. Both, along with Samoa, who will advance to play Australia in Darwin if they see off Scotland, have squads stacked with players who were not born in those countries and who learned the game in Australia and New Zealand. Fiji, Kangaroos and Queensland legend Pto Savonisiva told me on Sunday evening that only about half a dozen of the Fiji squad started playing league in Fiji, while the players are a rough split between those born there and second or third generation Fijians. None of which diminishes their achievements, but they should be seen for what they are. Fiji is a tiny nation and rugby league is played by very few people there, as it is in Lebanon, Scotland, Ireland, Italy and, to a lesser extent, Wales. It is no wonder they look to the superpowers for their eligible talent. Goal line dropout James Tedesco scores for Italy against USA. Photography and Hitchcock Getty Images. Hull KR fans may have watched with whimsy as Josh Manteletto stroked kick after kick through the posts for Italy on Sunday, as well as scoring his trademark try, reaching down from a great height to touch the ball down just inside the flag. Manteletto only just made the World Cup, having broken his right forearm for the 5th time in July, thus missing Wyong-Ru's run to the NSW Cup Grand Final. He is embarking on full-time degree at Newcastle University to become a maths teacher and trains 3 times a week with the Roos. His latest break and enjoyment of the course is making him question whether hobbling into school on a Monday morning is a good idea. Manteletto is not the only academic member of the Italian squad. Fullback Richard Lefori, who has just rejoined Rochdale from Oldham, gained some consolation in missing selection to face the States by receiving his final grade for his Masters in Sociology of Sport and Exercise from Chester University. Let's just say he was a happy camper. Fifth and last, there was a distinct communal feeling to the World Cup's week or so in Townsville. The various teams could not avoid each other if they tried. There was Wales fullback Elliot Keir and his dad bumping into his former London Broncos teammate Ray Nasso in the street. Nasso, now a PE teacher, was here to catch up with his old Italy mates and watch their game with his family. He was also going to see Mark Offerdal. There were more past and present Broncos here than almost any other club. At the end of the Fiji-Wales game, Junior Rokika stood in the centre circle chatting with the Dragons trio of Broncos. Minutes later he was bouncing up and down in the dressing room in his Fiji budgie as smugglers to the latest in their ever-increasing and consistently excellent post-match celebration repertoire. Another memorable behind-the-scenes moment that night, almost the entire Italy team in the hotel bar transfixed by the TV showing a package of James Tedesco wondatories on Fox Sports. Tedesco, superb a few hours earlier against the USA from standoff, stood at the front, taking the inevitable flak in good humor. Follow No Helmets Required on Twitter and Facebook.